And welcome, world, to another special edition of 90 Miles from Comics. We are here, Turtle Talk Thursday. I got a very special guest joining me, someone who loves turtles probably more than I do, and that's my homie, Seawood. What's going on, Seawood? What's going on, man?
Oh, cowabunga, man. So happy to be here talking about turtles. Like I said, I've had a couple hours of sleep, but you know what energizes me more than anything else? I love the good old TMNT. So thanks for inviting me tonight.
No, of course, man. Thank you for joining me, Carson. This is awesome. I already got one homie in the chat. We got Dark Mufasa joining us. Thank you, brother, for jumping right in as soon as we went live. That was pretty great. So, we also got Gorilla Grodd in the building. Thank you, guys. So, yeah, man, just something I've been thinking about lately in the comic book world. The Turtles, especially in the YouTube comic book community, is not getting any love. I'll say that. Like, there's a difference between not getting enough love and getting no love. And I feel like no one is talking about this. So it's been something I've been wanting to kind of like jump off the ground, because this current Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles run and series is actually the longest ongoing run they've ever had. And that's got to speak to something for these guys. You know what I mean? Because, they've kind of struggled to always get that continuing ongoing thing, especially outside of, I guess the longest thing would probably be those adventures, right? Because the adventures went for a little bit, I want to say.
Yeah, I think the Archie comics version came it was pretty much like coming out throughout the 90s. So I can't remember the exact amount that ran, but that ran for quite a while. But just hearing you and Who Dat Comics and Movies talk about the new Turtle series, I've read a limited amount. I'm slowly getting into it because you guys keep twisting my arm on it. I think it's pretty cool so far. It just reminds me of how Ultimate Spider-Man got its footing back in 2000. You just took the basic principles of the character and you just amped it up times 1,000 and made your own version of that. So that's why I've really grown to like this first hardcover I've read so far. They just completely retell the origin, but it's fresh. Obviously, in the world of TMNT, especially with like the cartoon series, the movies, we have seen reboot, retellings, and all that stuff. I feel like 100 times over since the original cartoon and that stuff. So this new comic series, it's been pretty legit. It's like what I've read has been very good so far.
No, and I'm on board with you. I want to say I hopped on the later part of it. I have probably actually starting from issue 44, which is, I guess, a major event. And I guess I'll dive more into that a little later, because I pulled some comics aside, some events that have happened along the line in this current TMNT run that I guess I feel like you should know, and that will shed light on what's going on or what's about to happen, I guess you can say, in City at War, which is a new event that's happening right now, issue 93. And I'm hoping as we get closer to 100, 100's a big thing, because most of the time to issue 100 in any comic, it's always a big thing. So this is where they're currently at right now. And I did read this, and this was already off to a great start. We do have a question already in the chat. How did you all enjoy Shredder Goes to Hell? Random question, but I figure I asked. Dark Mufasa, I'm happy you asked that. So Shredder in Hell, issues 1 and 2. It is a 3-part miniseries. I will say this. I think this is something that is not being talked about enough, man, because the guy that is writing this is also drawing this, and the artwork is phenomenal, and the story itself is great. Now, I know it's been a while, Seawood, since you've read it, and it's been a little bit since I've read them, because, they came out a little while ago. But if I'm not mistaken, this is, his spirit is in hell and he's trying to make his way back. Let me go ahead and, you got that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remembered I had this copy up there.
Unfortunately, I could not find that one, and I wish it did. But it's all right, because even the issue 1, it was hard to find the regular one. So I'm happy.
Yeah.
The
funny story behind this issue is because my shop, I love my shop, don't get me wrong, but they mainly do DC Marvel Image. anything independent, even IDW, they don't get a lot of in. So when these Key Turtles books come out, and shame on me, I really need to start putting it on my just pull list, which I may as well just go ahead and start adding TMNT. You've got me sold on the City at War thing. But nonetheless, when this book came out, they never got a copy, and it was Wednesday. It was opening. They didn't have any Shredder and Hells. But luckily, this one's the IDW limited variant of the Kevin Eastman Shredder cover there. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm angry. I want a copy. I'm just gonna go ahead and get like this cool limited edition. I paid like $15 just to get an issue of this.
Totally worth it though.
Yeah, no, it was actually a pretty cool read. Like I was just saying, I have a limited exposure to the newer comics, but going in and reading this, I'm like, man, they're really going all out in this comic. Like you get to see this, dark character in Hell. You get to see Hell versions basically of the Turtles. You get to see Shredder reverted to a rat as a pet for Shredder on his shoulder, helping him out. So far, 2 issues in, I've really been digging it.
No, definitely. And I guess, and something, because I know Dark Mufasa mentioned he liked it because it was a little different. And if you're not reading the current run, I mean, not that I guess you need to read it to read that and know what's going on in that, so to speak, but it would help bring in more context. And I guess that will kind of lead me to what I was mentioning earlier. I pulled some comics aside with some major key events that have happened along the way before we've gotten to where we're at today and before we've gotten to Shredder and Hell. So the first one that I want to show off is issue 44. And actually, I have 3 copies of it. I was showing Carson earlier. So this is a 3rd printing, but in issue 44, Bebop and Rocksteady actually kill Donatello. So this is the death of Donatello. And cool, because they're, I don't know how, but they're able to like somehow harbor his spirit into Metalhead, and for a while he's in Metalhead, and that's he's able to experience life through Metalhead for a little bit, and then of course they're able to bring him back. I was also able to get my hands on the Eastman variant, and I guess you can say as a Turtle fan, anytime an Eastman cover comes out, you're just like, all right, yeah, we gotta grab that one.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I remember when that issue came out, and I was just hearing rumblings about that Turtle series. I never really thought of anything about it, but then it was like, wow, they actually had, the balls basically to kill off Donatello. It was Bebop and Rocksteady who did it. Like, I couldn't believe when I heard that. So, I think turned a lot of heads for that series when they pulled that off.
No, for sure, without a doubt. What up to Mastodon Comics and Collecting? I didn't say what's up.
Oh, what's up, Don?
That's awesome. Thank you for joining us, brother. So, but no, I agree with you. And just ballsy move to kill a turtle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
And then this is the 3rd cover that I have. This is a Ottawa Comic-Con exclusive. And this one, as much as I love that Eastman cover, this one might be my favorite just because I like the whole shrine to Donatello there, and the 3 brothers down at the bottom, kind of holding and
that's nice. It reminds me of the the Superman and the Superboy shrine from those comics. Like when they died, they'd always have like those shrines for those guys.
Yeah, it's exactly what it looks like, actually. Yo, what's up, Caleb? Thanks for joining us, brother. So, the death of Donatello, like I mentioned, big event, and I guess the kind of, and I know you mentioned earlier, like they kind of rehashed the origin. So, like pretty much how it's told is like the spirits of the brothers, the 4 turtles, and Splinter, and even Shredder himself, they've been like spirits, that have been on this earth for ages and years and just been reincarnated, into these things. And their battle and fight throughout life continues no matter what type of reincarnation that they are in. So it's cool because you have this whole spiritual aspect in it as well. And you get one point when like Donatello's trying to come back to being, Donatello. He actually is in like this spirit world, and he has like communication with his mom and stuff like that, and just really cool and really different stuff. It's not just like Turtles, like watching the cartoon, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's got this whole shinobi type feel, and and if anyone's into like martial arts or anything of that type of nature, I recommend that as well because it's just super, super cool. So you have the death of Donatello and super big there, but eventually comes back. But the biggest event that happened, I think, and he's still dead, and actually is what has led to Shredder in Hell, is there was the death of Shredder. And I'm surprised no one talked about this when it came out, Carson, because Splinter is the one that beheads him. And straight, Shinobi, they go one-on-one. Shredder gets bested and is like, hey, this is the way it's supposed to be. Then, this has to be done. And then Splinter at this point becomes the head of the Foot, which is, I remember reading this and just being mind blown. And I can't tell you why no one was talking about this. And to me, as much as everyone was talking about the Donatello thing, I thought this was a bigger thing. And I was like, oh my God. And this is what really sold me on this comic, because I think I said,
awesome.
Because the death of Donatello, like everyone else, I'm like, yo, what's going on there? And that drew me in. And then this right here, forget about it. I was sold. And then I pretty much have got every issue all up until like 92 or 93. Sorry.
Nice.
So they sold me in on that one.
Yeah, it just takes it back to Volume 1, Issue 1, where it's the Turtles versus Shredder in that first fight scene. And, they best Shredder, and then Leonardo, next thing you know, he's asking him to commit seppuku, so he can, off himself in the honorable ninja way. And then they eventually defeat him in issue 1, right out the gate. This was originally meant to be.
Yeah. What is crazy about this book? $7.99 price tag.
Dang.
Yeah, man. And which I don't know why, but I will say, quality of the book, you got that hard stock cover.
Yep.
You got the nice paper on the inside. So, for someone, if you come across it in a back issue bin and you see $8 on it, that's not an up price. That's cover price, just so you guys know, man. But issue 50, Death of Shredder. There's even a couple cool variants out there. I would definitely tell you go check this out if you could. And then another major event, that happened along the way was the death of Krang, and that was issue 75. And same thing as that one, it's a $7.99, price tag. You got that hard stock, great paper on the inside. This Trial of Krang was a pretty cool little, series that they had. It was 3 different books, and it was really cool. So I highly recommend it because it actually, ties into, everything that's happening now. So. Not to spoil too much, I guess you can say, for those of you that maybe want to go out and read it, but definitely get your hands on it. Go read it digitally, however you want. Get some turtles in your life because you need it, man. Trust me.
You talk about the quality of IDW, and like I said, I've loaded up on those hardcovers, and you've got me sold. I'm reading them all now. But anyway, if you do want to get a great quality hardcover, IDW, they're a little pricey, even on your in-stock trades and that stuff, but they are a very nice quality hardcover. It's, the very huge format. They even come with a little bookmark ribbon for you, but I highly recommend reading them in hardcover. And
I don't have any of and I probably should look into those myself because they even just look great to display as well.
Yeah, they're very uniform.
Someone that has books and bookshelves, I would definitely tell you to display them because they're great. To your point, great quality books, and I should look into them myself just to have them so I can just always read. And even those, instead of having to go through boxes, And
even if you want to read the original series, they have the Ultimate Collection, and those are great too.
Yeah. And I have the first volume of the Ultimate Collection. It was gifted to me by a buddy of mine, Joe. And shout out to Joe. I don't know if he's out there watching, but thank you for that because I was able to read that because of that. So shout out to JB joining us in the chat. Yo, bro.
Oh, what's up, JB?
Discovery Bay Comics in the building. What's on today with Discovery Bay? So
now, are there any Turtle comics coming out this free comic book day? Don was asking in the chat.
I think there is. What sucks is I gotta work on Saturday, so I'm not gonna be able to cash in on free comic book day. So I don't know. Maybe I can find a couple friends that might be able to go and check out some stuff for me, but let's see. I can pull it up real quick, I'm sure.
Yeah, shame on me. I haven't had a chance to really study the free comic book day list, but Luckily, I was just like, you know what, work's been exhausted. I'm just gonna take this weekend off because so it's like, oh yeah, it's free comic book day, awesome.
Yeah, there probably is a turtle book on there. There normally is, I want to say.
Yeah, they've had a good streak the last few years of turtle books.
Yep, there is one.
Nice.
So
Yep.
the road to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 100 issue begins. Yep, I gotta somehow figure out how to get me one, man. For
So,
sure.
Don, to answer your question, absolutely yes.
Yes, there is, and I'm gonna say there normally is one if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gotta get me one, man. I gotta talk to somebody that's off. I gotta talk to my homie Javi, who does the podcast with me. I'll probably be able to scoop me one up. So
Now look at JB with the scoop on free comic book day. He's already got them all in. Oh, that's right. He did have them all in hand on that one Comic Core, I think. He was like showing them up and like, oh, no, and we're like, no, don't open them. I don't think we can show that yet. But
Never
my
had-
question to you is, I love talking turtles with people. What are some of your first turtle memories? How does this love for Ninja Turtles begin?
all right, hands down, it was the cartoons as a kid. Like I can remember distinctively waking up Saturday mornings and having like cereal, just watching Turtles. Like my mom just putting on whatever channel it was on that just played kids cartoons, and Turtles was it, man. It was that and Batman. Those were the two.
Nice.
Like so. Those two always have like this undying love. I always have this like undying love for, I guess you could say, Turtles and Batman. And when they teamed them up together, and you best believe, and I already read it, you best believe I got Batman's.
I need to look for that one too on Saturday.
And this was a great read as well for any Turtle fan out there. And I mean, I can maybe spoil it a little later. Maybe I can dive in a little later into it if the chat wants me to. But that was awesome. But no, I just remember Saturday mornings watching the Turtles and then just falling in love with them. My mom buying me the toys. I wish I still had those toys, because some of them are worth some money now. But outside of that, just to have those memories of as a kid playing with them. And then I can as we were talking earlier about the video games, like I remember having the first one playing, the overview and whatnot. Oh yeah, let me go ahead and click.
I was gonna say I brought some show and tell. Speaking of video games, so this is one of my memories right here. I guess we could talk about this real quick. So I didn't even know, I was just like a dumb kid. Like as far as I knew, like this was the best Turtles game there was. Turtles 2 for the Nintendo. Then one day my parents, it was my brother's birthday actually. He got a Super Nintendo for us because it was his birthday, but it was for all of us, one of those type of things. And basically, we were still playing Turtles 2 because, hey, Turtles, why not? You're going to keep playing it until the controller breaks, basically. But there was also the Super Nintendo lingering, and one day, I guess I got like good grades in school or something. My mom's like, yeah, I bought you this. And I'm like, what in the world is this? So I pop it in, and oh my God, my mind was blown because like I'd go to the arcade and stuff and play like the cooler version, like, the better version of this. And then I kept hearing about this in the arcades, but I didn't know there was an at-home version for the Super Nintendo. And to this day, this is like one of my all-time favorite games right here. So Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. Sometimes I even catch myself humming the themes in this game. I absolutely love it. So yeah, that's one of my favorite things I own.
I can remember having like the bed sheets as kids, having the underwear, the shirts, the freaking slippers. So I don't know, man. The cartoons, that's because
one of the worst trouble I ever got. Well, I don't know if I really got into trouble. I took a stand and I won basically, but it was Thanksgiving 1990 something, probably 91 or something like that. And they were like, I was supposed to eat dinner with all of my family, like aunts, uncles, that stuff. And at my aunt's house, I wouldn't leave the TV because I knew there was a certain special coming on CBS that night. And of course, they wanted to eat dinner during all of them. Like, no, I'm eating my dinner in front of the TV because they had that Ninja Turtles special, prime time special on CBS that night. It's like where they meet the, oh my God, who do they meet? It's like they go into space for the first time. And oh man, I just remember like having to watch that special. I think that's like the only time they ever aired that too.
Yeah,
So that's how much I loved Turtles as a kid. Like I made my whole family mad at me for the rest of my life, probably.
I do remember as well. I don't know if you know this, but there was a Turtles like traveling musical.
Oh yeah,
I
had that VHS tape.
I have the VHS tape as well, and my dad took me to it, and I'll never forget it. And still to this day, my dad teases. And I'm actually, I mean, I guess a lot of people on the channel know this, but I'm a bass player. I'm really into music. My guitar player Javi does 90 Miles from Comics podcast with me. But he always teases me because it was like a whole music thing that they were into. Like they were like a band.
Yeah.
And Shredder had this song, and he would just go, music, music. I hate music. My dad to this day still teases me and hit me with that line, So one of the things I'll never forget as well, man, that musical was super cool, as a kid.
Yeah. No, it was perfect. They somehow made Turtles into a traveling circus, basically. It was pretty ingenious.
Yeah. Money maker right there. Cash grab, man. So I know you were showing it off earlier. But I guess before we show yours off, I'm going to show mine off. But just, some other keys, I guess you can say I kind of sort of have. This is a second print of the first Casey Jones.
Yeah, that one's cool. I like that cover a lot.
And it's actually a wraparound. I guess I could show the back off. So let me go ahead. We'll do this.
Very nice.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good find, man. I was telling you before we went on air, even those second and third prints, I mean, of those early ones, those are still definitely worth having, if not for those like specific covers, because I don't think they reproduce those too many times.
No, yeah, man, probably low print run. So yeah, when I found it, I was like, you know what, man? I don't have a first print. First print's on the list this year. That and a couple other books I got. That I'm trying to track down. So, but definitely cool. I can at least read it and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, this year my Turtle comic collecting's definitely been kickstarted. This book I definitely have been wanting a while, but this year I finally decided to put on my 2019 want list. And just pure happenstance, I guess. Who Dat Comics and Movies, I'll keep shouting him out like because it's a turtle show and he loves him some turtles. He put this lot up on the Great Legend auction, and as soon as he put this lot up, I'm like, that lot is mine. Anytime there's an auction in the community and they put turtles up that I don't have, you better watch out if I'm available. But he happened to throw this up, and I'm just like, oh, okay, now I've got to turn the volume up on my iPad, drop everything else I'm doing in the background, and I got to figure out how to get this book. But Who Dat, he hooks it up with the deals. He throws in this one, which this one I believe is the one. Yep, I put a note on the back. This one he actually had found that was signed on the inside by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. This is a second print of number 2. So down there on the bottom, it is signed by Eastman and Peter Laird. This is the only Peter Laird signed book I own. So I was very happy to find that. And by
very
the way,
rare signature to get.
Yeah, another cool wraparound of the Mouser. So absolutely love that. Right. And I just love, talk about opening splash page too. I got one open, boom, just Raphael right in your face, even with his little turtle tail in the background there. And then he even threw, I think he forgot he threw this one in until we were talking in an off-air one day. He's like, do you need a Turtles number 3 first? I'm like, no, dude, you gave me one. He's like, what? It's like, here it is. So, yeah, I ended up getting this lot from him. And ever since then, I'm like, because all this time, in my head, even as a kid, because I've been wanting these my whole life. And I was just like, those books are always too expensive. I'll never be able to get them. Yeah. And I was just like, that's why this year I set my sights at least on first Casey Jones, because I figured of all the books that would be it'd still be pricey obviously for me, but I figured it'd be a solid one to try to get. But the fact that he was nice enough to put all these up for sale at the same time for a very, very, very affordable price, that's I got to start collecting these a lot more now. So obviously, yeah, I have this year.
Yeah.
So,
capitalizing. That's
yeah.
Man. I'm jealous. I'm gonna track me one down. When I do, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna let you know. Yo, shout out to John's Comics with Kids, Cowabunga, and
sure.
Tony Sanders in the chat, man. Thank you,
Man,
guys.
everyone's coming out.
Right? Everyone loves them some turtles secretly, man.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what we're trying to talk about.
And you know what else has been kicked off for me this year? You know, talking to you guys about turtles, as I've strived to get some original art for turtles, whether it be commissions at cons and that type of stuff. I haven't gotten anything in my. Actually, I do have one thing. I don't know why I just thought of this. I did have one thing in my sketchbook I got to show you. And I probably already showed it to you, but it was just a quick 2-second sketch. But I did get a Kevin Eastman Ninja Turtle for my sketchbook, so. Like I said, and he did it all for free too. So he could just tell, you know, I had a sketchbook. I was a fan. Usually I don't like pander and ask for too many free sketches anymore because people just don't do a lot of free sketches. But when Kevin Eastman's in front of you, he hasn't done signings for years. I'm just like, sir, I'm a gigantic fan. Is there any way at all I can get a sketch for the sketchbook? He's like, give me the book. So I do have that. But at C2E2 this year, I did get a couple pieces of art. So I got a Raphael. I was going to get these in my book, but my sketchbook was with an artist doing a Buffy commission. So I did set these up beforehand. So I'm like, I may as well just get some for the wall then. So I got this Raphael. The name of the artist escapes me right this second, but it's the colorist for the book Leviathan, written by John Layman. And I think he did this for like not much money at all. So I thought that was really nice. And then luckily, this guy has his like name on the bottom corner. Daniel Dolitsky did this Michelangelo for me, so I thought that was really awesome. So still need to find a spot on the wall for him, but I'm happy to have them.
No, beautiful. They are beautiful. And Tony Sanders just wants it to be known. Sketch Grail, Secret trademark.
We coined that on his show.
Yeah. And newsstand.
Oh yeah,
you best believe, man. Anytime I come across a newsstand, I'm all about preaching it. Now, I do want to say, I just think this is a cool cover. The issue before '93, with
I do like that, yeah,
as like the head of the foot. And
you have sold me on this series more than you know.
It is super cool, man. It's a great read, man. I will say that. And so the death of Shredder leads to him being in hell, and that's kind of like him trying to find his way back, you know, to you know, the world, so to speak. And I just think it's cool because, you know, as you mentioned earlier, with that, like, you know, he's battling his demons and he gets to fight like zombie turtles. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
that was like super cool.
It seems like in that book, his personification of hell mostly comes from stuff that has been in his head when he was alive. So when he gets to hell, like, you can really tell that, you know, the turtles they really got into his head to the point where, like, that's what he's fighting in hell is just tons of turtles.
Yeah. And then it also leads to a point where I guess he starts, starting to have that battle with him and his dad, and I guess and what he did to his father to, you know, to become, you know, Shredder and all that type of stuff. And that's kind of where issue 2 left off. So I'm excited to see what issue 3, you know, has in store. But if I had to like speculate, I would guess probably like issue 100 they bring him back, you know?
Yeah.
That would probably
bring somebody back, yeah.
You know, I think that's what they could possibly do at issue 100. And I think that would be a cool way to bring him back. Or if they bring him back before that and it's something else that's epic at 100, that's cool too. You know, so
yeah.
I'm hoping that this show's going on, you know, until then, and we can have an epic 100, you know, talk. I want to get Edwin, the comic jabroni. I didn't get to mention that. He was one of the original panel members. Unfortunately, he had an emergency to take care of. So thoughts and prayers are with you, Edwin. Hope everything's all right, brother. And damn, so I don't want to spoil this for you then, because you're going to read this, right?
Yeah, I'll probably, if I see the one at the shop, I'll definitely pick up that too.
I won't.
I really want that cover.
It's right here, guys. If you're into Batman, if you're into Turtles, I highly recommend you go check it out because this is some awesome stuff. I enjoyed the first series a lot. Second series, I liked. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it as much as the first.
I agree.
The way this opened up, I might like this one the most. just based off this first issue, I'm already like, wow, like this is cool. Like this is it. Like, so out of the 3, different Batman and TMNTs they had, that I would say this is the strongest issue number 1. Even though that issue 1 from 2 years ago, that thing popped for a while. I don't know if you know that, but that thing.
Yeah, I do remember it. Like, because I think when I started reading that, once again, I missed out on those 2. I got a first issue, but tracking down some of those middle issues, I had to settle for the second prints.
Yeah, man, I lucked out on those. I believe I got them in here. I don't know why, but I have like.
How many? Mine's like up there.
Not in this box. Wrong box. I think it's in the Harley box. A little way. But I was lucky enough. But I don't know why those things were hot, man. Those issue 1s were super hot. But like I said, story-wise, I think this is the strongest opening to the series. And I would definitely say, if you guys haven't read it, go check it out, read it. Shout out to Steve Whiting for joining us in Perry Comics. What's going on? Steve Stone Cold Comics, bro.
What?
He's just killing it, bro. Right? Oh, right. What? That's so good. So good, man. I miss the Attitude Era so much.
Stone Cold Steve Comics. I did like that. You guys came up with that the other day. Good work.
Yeah, well, I was gonna name that the title, but I was like, you know what? Maybe before I do that, like make sure he's cool with that. He might not be a Stone Cold fan, and that could be like the last thing he wants is like have something him and associated with Stone Cold. That'd be too. So, all right. So we already know you got your Casey Jones. Is there anything else you're on the lookout for? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Besides, your holiest of holy grails, issue 1. I'm still probably looking for an issue 4 as well, because I think I do go for like 2, 3, and then like 5. I guess I could probably use a first printing of issue 2, but I'll probably get an issue 4 first, just to try to complete those first 5 besides the first one. But other than that, I think I'm gonna try to get a set of Turtles for my sketchbook next to the cons I go to. So I'd like to try to get, if I could get Freddie Williams to do a Turtle for me, that'd be awesome. I got a Robin way back when he was working on Robin, the Tim Drake one. But I could tell his love of those 80s characters, whether it be like He-Man, the Masters of the Universe, or TMNT. That guy loves his 80s cartoons. So looking back, I wish I would have got a Turtle from him, but he's a great artist. So I'd like to get some commission art inside my sketchbook of Turtles, like at least a set of 4, and maybe eventually get it. I do have a Shredder on my wall over there I got a couple of years ago. It's pretty nice, but I'd like to get some of that stuff inside my book. But I guess in terms of like recent cool stuff that's came out for Turtles outside the comics, NECA has started releasing a lot of Turtle related content. So they just released these at Target. I actually got the entire setup there so far. So luckily, my Target got the full sets in. So these are the animated versions of the action figures, obviously. So you get a cool Foot Soldier and a Turtle in each pack. Actually, the Leonardo comes with Shredder, and the Donatello comes with Krang. And if you look on the back here, I should have just pulled them all, but I left them all on the display shelf. Krang actually comes in like, it's like the action figure you bought, when you were a kid. He comes in like that full little walker thing with the plastic thing on top. So love that. And then I think these might be my favorite, though. They released these exclusively to GameStop for the time being. These like super realistic looking movie figures. Yep. And they each come with like their own slice of pizza and that stuff. But I walked into GameStop, like Comic Core Chad said something about these at one point. And I kind of just put it at the back of my head. But one day I was just randomly walked in bored to a GameStop on a Saturday, and I saw these were sitting on the back of the counter. And I'm just like, those look amazing. And I'm just like, dude, what do I have to do to like, order one of those? Because usually if it's behind the counter, I assume it's like not for sale or somebody else. Or it's like, we just unboxed those. You can have all of those if you want. I'm like, bag them up. So yeah, that NECA has been putting out some really cool action figures. I wouldn't mind. I have a buddy who keeps telling me about like the, I guess they did San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, except they're like half size ones, like not half of this, like half human size. So I'd like to see one of those and, obviously at least have a Mikey because he's my boy, but that'd be really cool to have.
Oh, well, I guess I don't have to ask that next question. Who's your favorite?
Yeah, definitely. You know, Michelangelo, he was my guy growing up, so I definitely have to default to Mikey. But there's definitely not one I don't like. All four of them are awesome.
Right, as you grow older, it's like, how do you not like them all? They all have
Yeah.
their own
But you
thing.
know what's funny? Going back to like the video games, like Mikey's my boy, but you got to pick Donnie at the end of the day. He's got that reach.
Yeah, it's so true with the staff.
Oh yeah.
You're getting, keep
Even in tournament fighters, like he's got that half screen reach. You got to pick Donnie over the other ones, especially like poor Raph. Like we all love Raph, but man, that side it doesn't go too far in the 16-bit era.
It's so true. It is very true. As a kid growing up, I loved Raph. Like,
Yeah.
I guess that's like everyone's go-to. But as I got older, and I guess you could say reading the comics, by far my favorite's Leo, man. Favorite is Leo.
Yeah. I won't argue that. He doesn't get enough love, in my opinion.
There's a reason why he's he's the leader.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I gotta go Leo as an adult, but as a kid, it's gotta be Raph for sure. And let me know what your favorite turtle is in the chat, guys. If you guys are still here hanging out with us, I would like to think that everyone's just very entertained by our conversation because there hasn't been too much. Normally the chats are wild, man. But I think everyone's just hanging out, chilling. I do know Graders Notes is going on, Comic Head 84 and all that.
Thursdays are a busy time in our community here.
Not as busy though.
Yeah, it really isn't. I mean, it's still busy, but I remember it would be like 10 live shows every Thursday because what happens in the comic book community, everyone gets their books on Wednesday, they go to work and that stuff. So by the time Thursday rolls around, everyone's read everything. They're ready to talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's true. I take Wednesdays off.
Now, here's a topic for you. I've been kind of wanting to ask this. We're talking about the many times Turtle's been rebooted and redone. What did you think of these like newer crop of CG movies? Basically, I'm curious on your take on those.
I mean, I was entertained. I own both of them. Cool. I didn't think they were like once again like some groundbreaking movies.
Yeah,
I felt like they did the characters justice. They felt pretty genuine to each character, and yeah, man. I mean, the Bebop and Rocksteady thing was a little different, but I see why they had to do it to kind of tie it in and make it believable and real, so to speak. So no, I had no problem. Like I don't know, I had no problems with them. I know.
That's why I kind of wanted to mention it because honestly, I kind of have the same opinion. Like I went in expecting nothing from them at all. The first one, I kind of legitimately enjoyed. I don't think it touches near my nostalgia and enjoyment of the original two.
No, for sure.
The first one, Secret of the Ooze, I would watch those 10 times over. Don't get me wrong. But 90 minutes on a rainy day, I would watch it again. To be honest, like I thought, all four Turtles, they pretty much did justice. They had some really cool parts. I love the elevator scene where they're, you're supposed to be like all hyped and tensed up for this final battle, and they just start like jamming out in the elevator. So I'm like, that's the most Turtles thing they put in that whole movie. I could have did without like the non-mutants in some of those movies. Like honestly, I didn't mind Megan Fox. I understand, why she was in it and cast as April, but like Will Arnett was a little bit of a letdown. I thought he was funnier in 2 than in the first one, as strange as that sounds, because he took all of the credit for what the Turtles did in the first one. So I thought that was hilarious. But they dropped the ball on Casey Jones in the second one. Let's be honest. I was so let down by Stephen Amell because I love Arrow. It's a great show, but man, he's no Casey Jones.
Agreed.
But I did enjoy those movies for what they are.
Yeah, entertained. Like not expecting something crazy, and hopefully down the line we see something possibly better. I do want to shout out Captain Cold Collectibles for joining us and Mad Wook's Den Comics. What up, guys? Now, I do want to ask you, are you interested in that Batman TMNT animated movie?
Yeah, we were talking, me and I think Chad and Kat Wren were talking that up not too long ago, and that looks really awesome. I think DC animated, like the fact that they're going to be behind it. They've been knocking it out of the park on animated features the last several years. So I'm looking forward to that one whenever that comes out. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Actually, I should have pulled them, but they actually had a Batman TMNT animated series comic come out, I want to say a
Nice.
couple years ago. I
Yeah.
don't know if you know that, but it was actual like the Batman animated series style.
Yeah.
And like, you know, the turtles were like the way they're drawn.
Yeah. It's in a stack over there somewhere. Shout out to Spidey fan. He actually sent me a signed copy of that, a couple issues of that actually.
And read that whole. That was a fun read, man. I will say, if you have that whole run, I would recommend it.
Definitely.
If you're into Batman, TMNT, especially the animated series, definitely read it because the whole time, I mean, regardless, when I read Batman, I always hear Conway and Hamill in my head, regardless. But especially in that, because the style's animated series, and then as a kid, I just hearing all those classic, Turtlehead voices. But it's in that new Nickelodeon style, so that's the only thing that's a little different, but it works. The way it's shown. So I dig it. I dig it. Yo, we got Comic Head 84 in the building. Aren't you supposed to be on Graders Notes, man?
Put you in 84. Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. He's supposed to be on Graders Notes. What's going on?
Oh no! Now here's an interesting quote. I need to get your take on this. So Caleb Comic Smurf Murphy says, "I like number 3 in Japan the best."
No, it's number 2, man. Right?
Now that's TMNT 3, the movie.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying number 2 to me is the best.
Oh God, I'm sorry. Okay, good, cool. I was just like, wow, you really. I was just like, when I went and saw Turtles 3 in the movie, I gotta admit I was pretty let down because I was just like, yeah, we're getting Casey Jones back. He wasn't in 2, but he's gonna be in 3. This is awesome. And then like he's just the comedy relief on the side while the Ninja Turtles fight some guy named Walker who falls down a waterfall and disappears.
No, 2 is by far. Right?
2 was the most fun I've ever had. Yeah. It was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had in a movie theater as a kid. Like that, it probably hasn't aged the best especially for non-Turtle fans. It's almost like you had to be there a little bit. It didn't have it doesn't age as well as the original, but man, if I don't love that movie to death. I mean, like you said, you get Vanilla Ice in it doing the Go Ninja Go. You get Toka and Razor eating those pre-match donuts with a little piece of anti-use in it.
Yeah, so good.
Oh, I love that movie. They find the trains. That train station sewer was awesome. No one wants to live in the sewer, but it'd be cool to live in this train station with the turtles.
No, bro, I'm all in. I think 2 is the best. Caleb, you can have 3. You can go back.
Yeah, Caleb, you can definitely have 3.
I'm taking 2, but even 1, was fun.
I think, to be honest, we could talk about 1. I think 1 is legitimately one of my favorite movies of all time at this point. I've talked about it many times. How I think, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the Angry Video Game Nerd. He reviewed that movie like years ago, and I think he put it as better than I ever could. He basically said that was like the perfect bridge between 80s culture and 90s culture in terms of the way pulp culture all worked back then. So for me, I completely agree with that. And not to mention just the Jim Henson effects were on top of their game in that movie. It's more well done than any of the other movies, in my opinion, especially 3. But I love everything about that movie, and especially the influences they took from the original comic too. They're definitely there. They had respect to every piece of material that was out Turtles wise back then.
And Caleb, you're absolutely right. To each their own.
Yes, absolutely.
You gotta have them all, man. The fact that we're just here talking Turtles, brother, that's what it's all about. At least you're watching them, man. Some people aren't even up on the Turtle game. So, man, I'm super excited to see the Batman animated movie with the Turtles. I'm excited to see what's going to be leading up to 100. I'm already excited of what I've read in Batman TMNT run number 3, and I got to make sure you get a copy of that, Seawood. I don't know about you guys in the chat, what you're excited about Turtle-wise, what you want to hear more on this show, because we're going to try to keep Turtle Talk going from this point on. We may change the panel out here and there. I can't expect Seawood to make it every week. He's a working man. So... But if there's something in the chat that you guys want to hear us talk about or review, let us know now. I'm going to start to put together a more structured Turtle Talk have more things structured around what's actually going on currently inside the universe. And like I said, I break it down. Shredder's dead. Splinter is the head of the Foot, and you have the Turtles, who obviously they have this turmoil, like in a couple issues prior to this, that like, yo, you're telling me the very thing we've been fighting now we're gonna become, and they make the decision that no, they can't do that. So they go off and they go to be the Turtles and do what they do and take on the Foot. So that's kind of where all this is leading up to right now. And that's, to me, is like the best part. So,
super you have sold me tenfold on this. I think I'm just going to add it to my pull list no matter what at this point. Like that pitch right there of like Splinter basically becoming the Foot Clan through proxy, and then the Turtles being like, no, we're the Turtles. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I can't believe that hasn't been done already.
Yeah, bro, it's exactly what was in my mind when I was like kind of reading it in a sense, But there's still there's this line though with Splinter, because you don't know, like, because he's only doing things to be, traditional and like, and I don't want to say he changes the Foot like completely. The Foot is still the Foot, but like it's changed in a way where it's I don't know how to describe it unless you read it.
Yeah.
But,
so what does it change him?
At that point, like the Turtles are like, nah, man, this is not who we are, what we are. You know what I mean? But
because throughout Turtles mythos, the one constant has kind of been, Splinter's like the ultimate like good guy. Everything he does, the Turtles have to follow suit because everything he does is, the perfect way to do something, basically. And to hear that, storyline, it's like, wow, they've really like thought outside the box on what to do with this Turtle series.
No, for sure. And I guess I just kind of, so this character right here, who's next to Shredder, this is Shredder's granddaughter.
Right.
So she's like, you can say, is the one that's trying to she's trying to take back the Foot in the honor of her grandfather. So you have that going on now too. So that's why it's a city at war, because you have like these three things happening in a sense.
Yeah, but it's even a family at war, it sounds like, too, with the Turtles and Splinter.
I got a feeling that's somehow gonna come on.
Yeah, exactly.
That will figure
how far are they gonna take that?
Like, I'm not worried about that, but it's like I said, as a Turtle fan, IDW's killing it. There's a death in this issue as well. I'm not gonna say who it is and what it is. I'll let you guys go read it and find out about it. And next week, hopefully we can get the panel on. We'll talk possibly this, and I would love to talk this. And these would be the two books I would love to talk next week on Turtle Talk. So that way, you guys in the chat, you can go ahead, get caught up yourselves, so you can be part of the talk with hopefully myself, C. Woodard, and the comic jabroni himself. So stay tuned for some more Turtle Talk. C. Wood, I want to thank you for joining me, man.
Yeah, thanks for the coming up with this idea. A lot of people are like, we should do a Turtle show and this and that, and then somehow it just, things go toward the wayside. But you made this happen, so big thanks for having me here.
No, man, thank you, bro. Bro, like I said, this is one of the storylines that I feel like is not being talked about.
Oh, you're right.
Like I mentioned earlier, there's a difference between not being talked about enough. Like, this ain't being talked about, and this is a great book. It needs to be talked, and especially as I've seen tonight, there's Turtle fans out here, man.
Yeah.
There's more Turtle fans out here than I thought.
They're coming out of those sewers,
and I'm excited to see you guys come back next week. And like I said, read issue 93 and Batman TMNT #3, issue 1. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to declare these the two books we're going to review next week and hop in. And we're going to have Turtle Talk going on from this point on. I think this was an awesome little introduction, kind of like on the whim type deal. So thank you, C. Woodard, showing off the toys, the sketch grails, bro. Eastman sketch, man. That's awesome. Like,
yeah, that's one of my favorite things I have in there. That's for sure.
Super, super cool, man. Most importantly, I want to thank everyone in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. You guys are awesome. Is there anything you want to plug before we get out of here, C. Wood?
No, since I got a couple days off, I might actually finally finish editing my next Seawood Signature Series video, which I actually show that TMNT book. So I got a a thumbnail made for my next video. It's TMNT oriented just because of that book, basically, and a couple others. So other than that, I just had a Tuesday night live stream this last Tuesday. If you guys want to catch that on the rewind, and actually about 1 hour from now on the Comic Core channel, I think it's me, John's Comics with Kids, and Comic Core Chat, and Catrin Figures. We're going to be recapping Game of Thrones, the most recent episode that was just off the wall, crazy, insane. Definitely worth some discussion there. So they invited me to do that as well. I'm like, yeah, I got some thoughts on that last episode of Game of Thrones, so I'll definitely be in for that. So stay tuned to the Comic Core for that at about 10 o'clock Eastern.
I'll be in the chat for that one because that was a great. Well, I guess it was an episode for those of you that have not seen it. You definitely got to go check it out, form your own opinion of it. Let me ask you, C-Wood, did you have any issues seeing it or viewing it, as some people have claimed that they had?
No, actually, I luckily for me, I guess I worked nights the Sunday night. So when I got home early enough, it was still pitch black out. So actually, in my opinion, it was a really cool experience. I mean, if you were actually at the Battle of Winterfell and you had a dude coming to your front door who can allegedly now controls weather elements in the dark, you're probably not going to be able to see squat. So that's just the kind of way I look at it, I guess. And, some people made the point, like, at the end of the day, you can have that effect at the opening, but as the viewer, you eventually need to be able to see what's going on. But hey, there's two sides to that. So I thought it was good.
No, I thought the way it was filmed and shot, was awesome. And I know everyone's got different TVs, but I'm, messing with the settings on my TV all the time, so I had no issues seeing anything, luckily. So awesome. I'm excited to see what you thought of that episode more. Outside of that, I will be on a show this Sunday with Big Will and Jeffrey Comic-Con Henson at 2:45 Eastern time. I'm not sure exactly what the show is. I do think it's on Jeff's channel, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. You can always check me out every Monday night live with the MCE crew over at MCE. And of course, you can find me back here next Wednesday with the 90 Miles from Comics podcast crew. And now, Turtle Talk Thursday. So we'll see you guys here next Thursday, same time, same turtle train. I guess we're going to be in the turtle train, right? Because that's my favorite spot. So back in the same turtle train.
You made another funny.
Well, we're going to be talking Batman TMNT 3 issue 1. So make sure you go read it to be part of the chat. And issue number 93 of TMNT. So City at War Part 1. All right, guys. Till next week, go get your books. Go read your books. Thank you, guys. Peace.
Yeah, never pay full price for late pizza. Remember that.
Never pay full price for late pizza. That's the most important thing that you learned on this show today, without a doubt.